Welcome back to Earth Station Trek, a show where we trek from the early days on NBC to the future on Paramount Plus and everywhere in between. I'm Charles Kelso, and it's my privilege to introduce the Earth Station Trek crew, Keith Johnson.
When I first went to university, I told myself, do not kill the instructor on day one.
Alan Seiler.
What in the egg salad hell?
And Veronica Dashel.
Hi.
And welcome back, everybody.
Yay!
And this is going to be a big show because
Yeah.
on the one hand, we've got the premiere episode 101 of Starfleet Academy.
Yes.
Also, this week we're celebrating 5 years of Earth Station Trek. Our
Woo!
5-year anniversary is this week. Can you believe we've been doing the show 5 years?
That's crazy.
Wow, it's come and gone
5 years.
quickly.
I know.
I mean, this was a lockdown project.
Mm-hmm.
This was we were, as a lot of things started in the pandemic because people were sitting around and there's nothing to do. You can't go hang out at the movies and you can't go to parties, and a lot of people's jobs were not happening, and all these creative pursuits started to come out of it. And I think it's really, really cool that we did that and that it's lasted this long.
Right.
Yeah.
I know.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
I can't believe we've been talking about Star Trek every week for 5 years.
And I did this instead of learning to make sourdough bread. So
It's one
This is
regretted life.
easier on your waistline than sourdough
Yes.
bread is.
yeah.
All right, Keith, do we have some This Week in Trek this week?
Because of the premiere, I didn't do any because I figured we were going to be
Okay.
talking a lot about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think
much
it's fitting
to
for
talk
our
about.
5-year anniversary that I forgot to send the link out and we got started a few minutes late and didn't have time to talk first.
And I still
on
barely made it on time despite that.
It's on brand for us. All right. Well, so tonight we're not going to be talking about episode 2 of Starfleet Academy. We're going to save that, and we're going to talk about that on Monday. We're shooting from Monday at 8:00. So everyone, please feel free to join us on Monday. But so no spoilers for episode 2.
Red alert, red alert, red alert, red alert. Red alert. You're supposed to tell me you don't need to say it.
For episode 2. No spoilers for episode 2.
Oh, I thought we were doing the.
Oh, you're doing a bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was doing
She
the bit.
is-
Out of
It was
curiosity,
for the episode.
Okay.
out of curiosity, did any of y'all go ahead and
Make
watch
plans.
episode 2 yet?
Yes.
No, not me.
Now, Alan, you and I are the same. I actually didn't watch episode 2 because I kind of wanted my pure reaction to be episode 1, which is weird.
Exactly. Me too. I was itching
That's
to
what I wanna
watch
get
episode
Yes.
2, but
Yes.
I intentionally saved it because I didn't want to confuse any details.
Right.
Mhm.
And I wanted to go into our discussion on episode 1 completely only having seen 1 so that I can talk just about it. And
Yeah.
anything that I saw in 1 that I have like feelings about what might happen in 2, I don't know yet.
Yeah.
So-
Just a quick to jump ahead based on what you said, Alan. Something interesting happened. I was watching it, and then I had to go. I've been messing with my refrigerator for the last few days. So I went in the kitchen to mess with it on the refrigerator. And my wife goes, "Hey, are you going to come back and start the show back up?" That kind of never happens.
Wow.
Yeah.
She was waiting for me to watch episode 2. I was like, well, I'm not going to do that right now. So I thought
Yeah.
that was an interesting little survey.
Yeah, I had every intention of doing exactly the same thing.
Mhm.
Staying just with episode 1, keep it, focus on zero in on it. And then I
Mhm.
stayed up last night. They dropped both the episodes at midnight. I watched the first one, and then it's like, it was right there.
It's right there.
I saw your post.
Right. Yeah. So let's get into it. For one, I guess the first thing that we saw in this episode was the brand new 60th anniversary.
That's what I wanted to bring up first.
Okay.
Yes.
Because in the modern era, we've had these little like show idents that we
Right.
go into that are like the same template, but
Mhm.
with a different ship that matches whatever show. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what this is going to be like for this show. It was a completely new franchise ident that
Mhm.
has all the main ships from across, well, except for one, but we'll talk about that, from across the franchise. And it was absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ooh, it
Didn't
was so
have
cool.
any of the animated.
No, it
Ones.
did have the animated ships.
It had Prodigy, didn't it?
No,
No, it
did
didn't have Prodigy.
No
Oh,
Prodigy,
it
no Cerritos.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
And no Enterprise A/Titan B.
Yeah.
No Enterprise G/Titan B. I'm so sorry. Also, the ships weren't to scale. I did notice that. They're all just the same size.
True,
So
true.
I wrote down of course, the NCC 1701, and then it morphed into the A. Am I correct? Really quickly.
Mhm.
And did it
No,
faces?
D, didn't it?
It was a no. You know, when it first went into war, then the cells and stuff very slightly changed. I think it went to NCC 1701A.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah.
And then I saw C, I think Rachel Garrett's ship, but I
didn't see C.
No, you didn't see that.
well, what was the one with the saucer? Was that B or C?
They all have saucers, Keith.
Well, they all
Well, oh gosh. Well, go back and look at that one after the 1701A, because it looked to me like it went from B to C and then D.
Okay. No, I saw
no,
D.
it did. Yeah, it did original series, next gen, and then the 24th century shows, Discovery, Pike's ship, and the new one.
Yeah, it did have the Pike era Enterprise in there.
Yes.
Yeah, that was at the end, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It didn't do any like side ships. It only did like main, like opening title, main series ships.
So,
cool,
Veronica, there was a couple missing that you wanted to see.
That was Cerritos and Prodigy.
Yeah, the Protostar.
Protostar, yeah, whatever.
Protostar, that's the one I was thinking of. Thank you. That was the name.
Yeah.
They should have just had all the ships to make everyone happy, and that would be the hour. Just watching all the ships.
Correct.
All right. Well, first impressions of Starfleet Academy. We've been waiting for this show for, years. They've been talking about this show, like a long time.
Yeah.
So anybody
And
have
not only have we been waiting for it, but once they started trailing it and postering it and hyping it with like character posters and stuff, this show has taken an extraordinary amount of backlash.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it has.
Yeah. Yeah, it's being review bombed on Rotten Tomatoes right now. It's like at 30% user reviews.
Yeah.
For people who probably haven't even seen it.
Yeah.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
Huh.
But what did we think though, now that we've seen it?
I think it's awesome.
Okay.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
I don't know if I'd say hilarious.
There's hilarious bits in there.
Okay.
Yes, I would agree. Keith, what'd you think?
I thought it was really good. Now, I will note that it doesn't focus on the inner lives of the cadets all that much yet. I mean, they were all introduced, so there was a lot of stuff with the adults, but it absolutely held my attention, and I enjoyed it. I will get into it. Paul Giamatti, I guess by design, was somebody online said Paul Giamatti was chewing the quadrant, and but I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. I thought the characters were interesting. Again, we'll get into it later. The gentleman playing the Klingon medic or a doctor wannabe was very interesting. I was absolutely engaged with that first hour.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I messaged Chuck and I was like, just started the episode. From the first scene I was in.
Yeah.
Because I thought that whole setup with Holly Hunter's character and the little family, Tatiana Maslany, and the little kid, and then the introduction of Giamatti's character, I thought that was a really good sequence. And I was, from that bit, I was like, I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah, the big thing for me was that the episode was fun, and like Veronica said, funny, and the characters really pop. And I found myself, even the characters who I didn't think that I would like initially, sort of came around over the course of the hour. But I found myself just getting really invested in all the characters. I was correct that Lura Thok is the best character on the show.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people not happy that we haven't got an explanation about how she exists.
Right.
You know,
we don't need one in the first hour.
No, we don't.
I would
need
like
the
one
first
at
season.
some point.
Second season.
But no, I thought it was really good. It was well directed. It was obviously the Discovery era, of course. But the tone was very different from Discovery. I thought the music was more dynamic than Discovery. It was more colorful than Discovery.
Yeah.
But that's not slagging on Discovery. It's just some things that would that I think they've improved upon. But also I think that it lends itself better to this show than Discovery. It's just, it's not trying to be Discovery Part 2. But I thought there was some excellent cinematography, some very excellent direction from Alex Kurtzman. Credit where credit's due. I've been critical of some of the direction of some of the modern shows where they get a little flashier than I think they need to be. Sometimes it feels like the cameraman got bored and just started spinning around.
Yeah,
that usually happens in the episodes that Olatunde
Mhm.
directs, he does a
Right.
lot of that like camera, like flipping around stuff.
Right.
And usually what he does, I love. I
Mm.
think he's a fantastic director, and I think he really gets Star Trek. But he
Mhm.
also does a lot of camera tricks that sometimes I'm like, you know what? We didn't need that.
Right.
Yeah, I
But-
did note in the fight, toward the end of the fight scene, I thought the camera was moving too much, and that was the only little criticism I had.
Okay.
I don't like shaky camera moving around, but
Yeah.
I also noted before it's a gorgeous looking show, and if I'm going to still complain about the bridge look, it's way gone. So I thought it looked everything looked gorgeous, but their shows have always looked good. I have to give them credit there, always.
Speaking of looking gorgeous, I just want to say one of the things that I really appreciated in this first episode is that every time they introduced a new set or a new model, they spent time on it. They like did camera pullbacks and really slow reveals that showed you the whole thing. Like we got a lot of beauty shots of the ship. And when Holly Hunter comes onto the bridge, you get that like really slow kind of pan across the entirety of the bridge. And the first time that that the characters come into the school, like the common area of the school, and you get that big camera pullback that just kind of shows the enormity of that set. I love that kind of stuff, and I super appreciate the fact that, because in Discovery, I felt like we never, like especially in that first season or two, we never got real good shots of the ship. Like it was hard to get a sense of what that ship was about.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
this one, I felt like they really, and I'm glad they did too, because I have never so far been sold on this ship design because it makes no sense. And it's like overly ornate and unnecessarily decorative and blah, blah, blah. But they did a really good job of making that ship look really good.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things in this that just shows what they've learned over the last 9 years of doing Star Trek shows. Even little things like they had that beat when she first came on the bridge, where first you saw her on the shuttle studying the files, and then she came
Right.
and then went around and spoke by name to each of the bridge crew.
Yes.
And I can't imagine we're gonna get a lot of development for those bridge crew, but they did all get little moments in this, and some of them got more moments in this than some of the other bridge crews have gotten over the course of the run of the show. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's
But
right.
I think that's just something that they've listened to feedback and also looked back at their own work and thought, well, they did a similar thing when Pike came on Discovery in season 2, where
I
they
was
made a
gonna say
point
that.
after that first year of having him go around and learn everybody's name, and they did that from the jump this time.
Yeah. And I thought that was a cool moment too, because he didn't have the time to do a detailed study of crew. He just kind of gets thrown in. So at the end of that first episode, he has everybody introduce themselves to him, and which gave a little moment for each one of those characters. And we kind of got that same thing here. And I thought it was a really great thing because all the stuff that we've seen from the, like in the run up to the debut, was about our main student characters.
Right.
And we kind of know all the character names and we know the actor names, but we've seen these bridge characters in trailers, but we don't know anything about them. And I felt like it was nice that we got a sense of who these bridge characters are.
Well, let's pause for a moment and grab some comments, because we just started talking and now we're almost 20 minutes in and we haven't read a comment yet. We're excited.
It's only 15 minutes in. It's fine.
We started late.
That's true.
We did get started a little bit late. Okay. Talking about episode 1 or 2, Matt says we barely had time to finish episode 1, let alone consider watching 2. Yeah, he messaged us at 7:59 and said we're wrapping up episode 1 right now. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Man, you really pulled it out. Okay. And Elaine says we haven't had time yet. We just finished episode 1 right before y'all went live.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was a 75-minute episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had heard, and I think maybe the podcaster misspoke, that it was 120 minutes. And so we're kind of scrambling, like, are we all going to have time to watch a 120-minute episode? But I think he probably meant an hour and 20 and said 120. I think it's probably closer to where the actual runtime is. Yeah. But we did have a little advance warning, thankfully, so we could plan and and it looks like from what I've read that all the episodes of the season or the next several are going to be not 75 minutes, but closer to 60, like full episodes.
Good.
Yeah.
Wayne says the beginning was unexpectedly good in his opinion. Elaine says about the episode, I loved it. I'm sure there are things that could be nitpicked. Oh, we'll get there. Don't worry.
Come to the right place.
But I really enjoyed it, and I'm ready for more. Matt says, I really like most of the characters, which is the most important aspect of any Trek series for me.
100%.
Yep. Elaine says, if you're going to have Paul Giamatti in your show, you should expect some scenery chewing.
Ooh, boy.
And Wayne then throws in Klingerite.
I love that.
I
Yeah,
thought that was hilarious.
I laughed at that.
You never fight a clinger, right?
As he casually tosses the guy up in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Elaine
a lot
says,
of strong people.
Elaine says, Laura Thok may be my favorite character ever. I love the actress who plays her, so I'm happy to see her in this role.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. Oh, okay. Here's the thing that I don't think I'm going to know how to pronounce, but Zanxus Primo 7022 says, yeah, Discovery was more serious and Starfleet is more lighthearted, or sorry, Starfleet. Yeah, Starfleet is more lightheartedly balanced.
Yeah. And I think that suits the show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. I think that this is a show that needs a different tone. And, you know, you were talking about how this seems more colorful. And one of the things that I always griped about Discovery was that everything seemed very monotone, you know, and until they stepped out onto a planet. And I was always like, thank God they're on a planet because we can see what's going on. And this one is really bright. It's really brightly colored and it's well lit and it's gorgeous.
Well, it was just a visual style of Discovery. They would lean heavily into the color grading, and like you even watch Discovery, you can see people's eyes, like their the white parts of their eyes are more bluish, and their teeth are more bluish because they're really cranking those levers, you know. And I don't mean to sit here and complain about Discovery. I like Discovery, but I'm just sort of, I think what we're reacting to is that this is picking up in the same universe right after Discovery. And there are obviously some stylistic differences that I think are worth noting.
Yes, exactly. Let's see. Wayne says, hey, Keith, whatever happened to not going to warp inside their gravity well?
Yeah, I noticed that when the Athena took off, they were surrounded by ships. Yeah, and they just took off. Yeah, a good catch, Wayne. I noticed that too.
But now I will say, I mean, this is, 900 years after they said, don't go to warp in a gravity well, you know?
Exactly.
A lot of
developments happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then wrapping it up, Matt says there are literally 3 characters here that are dual species. There's more than that.
Yeah, there's more than that. That seems like to be something they're really leaning into on the show.
Yes.
Right.
Because they even made a comment that the captain is part Lanthanite.
Right.
Yes.
And
Genesis is whatever she is on a new species. What is she called?
I don't remember the name, but it was on her father's side.
Hang on. I got it right here.
Okay.
Damn it, I can't find it. Never mind, I'll come back to it.
And then we have obviously the Klingerite, and we have Laura
Thok. Oh, Adar Shah.
Okay.
What the hell is Adar Shah?
I don't know.
But she's Adar Shah on her father's side. So yeah, there's a lot of hybrids going on.
Well, I think it's good that it's something we haven't heard of.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm ready for it. But there's at least 3 new species that we have not ever heard from that are main characters now. And I think that's kind of cool. It's just like in Enterprise when all of a sudden there's a Denobulan on the bridge and you're like, well, what is that? You know, I think it's cool to introduce new things like this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially with so much time having passed. I think that's absolutely appropriate.
Absolutely. Yeah. Totally agreed. And then we got a what are they called?
Starts with a C.
No, it doesn't start with a C. It might. I don't know.
The Keonian? The Keonian?
No. Oh, no. I wasn't. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't going to talk about that yet. But yeah, no. Linus's people.
Oh, Saurian.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, Saurian.
Yeah.
And then of course they love the people from Let This Be Your Last Battlefield.
I was. Yep. One of the last things we saw was a student. Yeah, that was great.
Sharon, thank you. The half white, half black.
Saw an exocomp float by there once.
Yes, that was cool.
Yep.
Discovery got a name check.
Yep.
When they're calling for backup, and they're like, "How long before anybody gets here?" And the bridge lady says, "The Discovery's the closest one, and they won't be here for whatever they're tied up, and nobody else will be here for 45 minutes."
They're getting retrofit.
But the other thing was, and this is kind of talking about the ships that were included in that or not included in that opening bit, we got a reference to Prodigy when they're talking to the Doctor.
A heavy reference to Prodigy.
A heavy reference.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was so weird, referencing a series that they had essentially decommissioned and put out to pasture. And
now, to be fair, it wasn't CBS television that did that. It was Paramount Plus. So the folks who are making the show are probably just as mad as we are that the show was canceled and shuttled off the streamer. And, now it's off into the void. It's not even available streaming anywhere. So I love that they went, they named Murph and she threw in Captain Gwendala.
Yes. I thought that was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So do we want to talk about our new characters?
Yeah.
Who do we like? And is there anybody that we haven't kind of like glommed onto yet?
Okay.
I like Sam a lot.
Did you like the speaking of new character? Did you like the introduction of Caleb? How that first came out with him as a young kid and all that?
That was fine. We knew he was going to be the trouble kid.
I thought it was very, very well shot scenes. I thought they were covering a lot of the same ground that they've done before. Particularly, we were just talking about it last week when we were talking about the Starfleet Academy that, Kirk was the genius level felon and Captain Pike was there, trying to inspire him and so forth. And then when she was doing very much the same thing with Caleb, because you've got a special mind and you shouldn't be in prison. And he was like, this conversation seems familiar. And I was like, yeah, it kind of does. I saw this movie in 2009.
Right.
But I don't hate it. I think that he definitely sold it. And I don't think he even has one IMDb credit. So I don't know where this guy even came from, but I thought he was fantastic in the role.
Well, I agree with you, Charles, because some things are kind of cliched. Like I wrote down typical prison guards that like to beat up people and make fun of them. I couldn't for the life of me figure out how Caleb, who was 6 years old, got away and they couldn't find him. I know he ran out the thing, but how come they couldn't find him for 15 years? Don't they have scanners?
Yeah, but I mean, also
it was
during
weird.
the burn, so they don't have the resources. But also, he's been living presumably on the run with his mom his whole life and has picked up tricks. And I don't know, we may get more. There may be like a Fagin type character out there that he.
There you go.
With, you know what I mean?
Well, only because he ran out the door and she's staring there going, "Oh man, I can't find him." Like, can't you just stand?
It looked like he was 3 stories up, so I don't know where he went.
But I thought the whole thing with the crash and Caleb and stuff, and that's what I was saying. All the shows look good. All the special effects and all that looked really good with the crash, and so I thought that was really one thing that I thought was really funny when they went to Academy. I thought the Batman type thing. If you remember the Batman TV series, Charles, you were just talking about the Batman TV series online. Remember Bruce Wayne and Dick and what's his name would jump on that little fireman pole, and then they slide down. They'd have their uniforms on. I thought it was really cool when he walked through that field, and all of a sudden he had his uniform. They cut his hair. That was kind of cool, actually. That was funny.
And it's playing off the old cliche of like you go into the military and they're shaving everybody's head and that sort of thing. But it's just a futuristic version of that. Because he was very adamant he's not cutting his hair, he's not wearing a uniform. And he's like, well, wham! He's like, oh
exactly.
Man. I thought that was
not that I read a lot online, but a lot of people are irritated by. And here we go, Alan. You talked about the people online, so I'm not like saying this is anything that's justifiable. But I noticed a lot of people are for some reason irritated by the actress who plays Sam, and she herself said her character it was a little irritating when it started. I found her delightful, actually, and I was my wife thought she was funny. She was irritating in all the good ways, and the actor who is playing Jaden, the Klingon who wants to be a doctor. Only seen him for a few minutes, but he has a really good mix of almost being self-effacing, which is weird to say about a Klingon, but being a Klingon. You can see there's a thing inside of him that he's kind of calm. He seems like he's a little nervous and skittish, like the lady when she told him, basically, you're ashamed of what you are. But you also see that other side in him. I thought he did a great job. Just sometimes just how people stand and talk. And he was doing a really good job with that.
Yeah, he has a little bit of that, like early TNG Klingons, and also I guess if you've seen Stargate SG-1, the way Teal'c spoke at first, was like, "I am a Klingon."
Yeah,
he had a bit of that, and also his natural speaking voice is very different.
Very
It is.
different.
So I'm wondering if, for one, either maybe he's just really good at doing a deep voice, or if they're digitally pitching his voice, because he had a super deep voice.
I read in an interview, he said he has to speak in a deep voice, but he didn't say they didn't. He also says that he does have padding on because they make him look more muscular.
Sure.
So he's one of those who's like between takes, he's got to open up crap and let sweat run out and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, he's kind of a scrawny dude.
yeah. So
so
I was impressed.
Bulked him up a little bit, but I don't. They haven't bulked him up a lot because he's not a warrior.
Right.
And I think that we should be in a situation. Yeah, we shouldn't be in a situation. I mean, every species has to have medics and politicians and lawyers and all. It should not be unusual for anybody to encounter a Klingon that's not a warrior.
Yeah, one of the biggest complaints in the sci-fi world is, you're right, the monolithic cultures where every Romulan is devious, every Klingon wants to kill. You're right. I mean, even if they're not going to have the level of medicine we have, they're not just going to be always like, oh, patients know he's about to die, let's kill him first. So I agree with you, and I like that kind of diversity in a culture.
Yeah, I think he was well played. I like that he has his binoculars for bird watching, but it is interesting to see this Klingon. He drops his thing and the guy picks it up and he's like, he says please, like trying to get it back. Like that's not what you'd expect from a Klingon on Star Trek, right? You expect, if this was young Worf, he'd have put that kid through the wall.
I think that Jaden is a stupid name for a Klingon. They could have come up with something Klingon-ier, but
it does sound human.
But I like the relationship that's developing between him and Mir. Like, and it's kind of like a quick thing, because Mir comes in and he's like the outsider and the bad kid, and like immediately he kind of forms a connection with this Klingon dude, and I think that's a really I'm looking forward to seeing where their friendship goes from here.
Yeah. Now his second, I don't know if it's his surname or his second name, is Crag, which like Kraag, which is very Klingon. So I don't know what the thought process, or if there's some difference with his culture, or there's some significance to him having that name that maybe we'll learn later. They could have just called him Crag.
They could have, yes.
And they have a perfectly good Klingon name right there.
Right.
And I love the way Gina Yashare pronounced that, as Lyra thought, Krog. She leaned into all that stuff.
Yeah.
I love the way she got on to Mir when he first arrived. That was hilarious. Like the way she just like dressed him down and like he eventually like got him down doing push-ups. He was just like, oh no.
Right.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah. And you don't really think of Jim Hadar as being shouty, but she's half Klingon.
Yeah.
Right. So
I think that they're doing a lot with these hybrid characters. I hope that they really get into what makes their personalities unique. Like they're sort of doing with Lyra Thok.
Yeah.
I want to see more of that.
Yeah. Agreed.
Totally.
All right, let me get some comments. Zanxus says, maybe I'm getting ahead, but who had the best prison fight, Mir or Burnham? That fight with both of them have had really great fight scenes. And that last one, was in season 4. That last fight scene with Burnham was so good.
I'd say Burnham the better fight.
Yeah, that scene, I did think about that, because the shuttle he was in was even reminiscent in shape of the Discovery shuttles. The very beginning of Discovery, you had her being transported after she was arrested. I think it was episode 3, but and also the sort of like the people sneering at a prisoner kind of stuff. But I thought his fight was cool because you're in a falling shuttle, they wind up on the ceiling, then they wind up on the floor, but I didn't think they overdid it. They weren't running around, you know what I mean?
Right.
But they were sort of getting thrown around as the orientation of the shuttle would change. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. I also thought they did, it's a very minor point, but minor points make a show sometimes. I thought, Charles, to what you said about the shuttle, they did a really nice job of simply crafting dialogue for the computer. It didn't sound, it sounded natural. Sometimes it sounds so obvious. And I like what it was saying, engines offline, and then it simply said restarting engines, and it sounded like what made sense. I kind of like that. I thought that was really good.
Okay, when it was in that scene, exactly in that scene, and particularly in the engines offline or whatever it was doing, trying to restart the engines, that voice sounded like David Tennant.
Oh,
I know it isn't David Tennant, but it sounded just like him.
I couldn't
like, especially
place it.
in he voices a droid in the Star Wars shows, and it sounded just like him.
Okay.
Speaking of voice, did you catch Stephen Colbert's voice real quick?
Oh yeah,
that was fun.
And that could have been anybody. People were talking about it being stunt casting, but it wasn't.
It's so fun. Giamatti was on his show, was it last night or the night before? And they are both just such huge Star Trek geeks, and they were just like kids just doing it. And Paul Giamatti even said he had a good time. So again, I tried to not to look at too much, but man, he was, one point my wife is even laughing. Remember one point he was on the view screen, he had his face all up in the view screen, like he all had his nose pressed against the glass. I said, well, I guess they wrote the character like that.
Right.
Right.
And as far as Stephen Colbert goes, I mean, I don't think I'd have picked out his voice if I hadn't been listening for him as being Stephen Colbert. I think this is
I wouldn't have either.
He's just someone who's a fan of Star Trek.
Yes.
Kind of like when Mick Fleetwood was on Star Trek, but with a fish head on. You know,
right.
So it's more of a trivia thing to know that it's him.
But there wasn't anything that really gave it away. You would never have known that it was Mick Fleetwood, except for the fish guy was carrying drumsticks. He wasn't. All right, some more comments. Let's see. Matt says apparently about 80% of Starfleet heroes are from the series that we've seen.
Yeah.
The
wall of honor.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Matt, I agree with you, because at one point I said, well, I hope it's not everybody from the same 100, 200 year period. But there was enough names I'd never heard of before.
Peter Preston.
Sure.
Who?
We know Peter Preston.
Oh no, I was saying, but he was on there.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Scotty's nephew.
Yeah.
And the cut scene that died. The young man that died.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a deep cut. Matt also says, I think they're using Sam to represent a character on the spectrum for this series.
I don't think they're doing that intentionally.
Okay.
You don't?
Yeah. Well, only because she's supposed to be 17. And so far, interviews I've read about the character, they haven't mentioned that. They've only mentioned that she's only 17 and only 4 months old. That's why she's like that.
Why do you think it's not deliberate?
Because I don't think they would deliberately do that.
Why? They do a lot of representation deliberately. This production team specifically.
I don't know. I just have the feeling it's not intentional.
Okay.
Yeah. So far, nothing I've read shows it is.
Okay.
Well, and she kind of fills that role of the Data / Odo / whoever. That's and I don't think any of those characters were intended to be Spectrum characters, but they end up sort of fulfilling that role. You can look at them and say
exactly
right.
Yeah. No, I was just wondering because, like I said, the people who make Star Trek today, they make a specific point of being sure representation is in there. And one thing that I noticed watching the show is when you have the uniform, but also there's the variant with the skirt. And in one of the crowd scenes, I spotted
pieces.
And in one of the crowd scenes, I spotted a man wearing the skirt, which is something I've really not seen on Star Trek since the 80s.
Since the first episode of Next Gen.
Right.
Yeah. When Roddenberry was all pissed off and put that guy in there. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. I sort of jumped up on the couch. I was like, look. Just because it's not something that you often see. Yeah. And that's something I think that Star Trek was more progressive 40 years ago than our current society is today.
Yeah.
But it's something that never didn't take, Yep.
Okay. Zanxa says, don't mistake Jaden's kindness for weakness. He was down to fight Darren Ramey with Caleb.
I agree. And agreed.
And Wayne says, I'm looking forward to seeing that Klingon snap. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I am too.
Could be.
Yes.
I am.
Well, Klingon is genetic, for Klingons. It's genetic. And he's full Klingon. He's not half. So it's in there. He's holding it back.
Yeah. And he would be naturally stronger than, say, a human would be.
Right. And it's not like he hasn't fought. Sorry, Alan.
The one character that I thought was going to be sort of the bland one is Genesis. I ended up liking her quite a bit.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought she was good.
She's feisty and she's got a sarcastic spark to her. But you get her in a situation and she's a natural commander.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was great.
Yeah. Following on that, Alan, you guys were talking about, remember we talked about how the Discovery crew was never really fully well developed. And Charles, you said what they've learned over the years. They did a really good job in 1 hour giving everybody something to do, or 75 minutes. I was impressed that everybody, sometimes 5 minutes is all it takes to at least get some flavor.
Yeah.
And they did a really good job with that. Like you said, Alan, because I didn't know where they were going to go with her, but then the whole little thing where she rescued him. Now, nitpick for probably Matt and Wayne, nitpick, why in the hell, excuse me, but a ship that goes into space, make it such that no cadet can get a spacesuit on unless somebody with authority unlocks it. That was insane. So that the dude
probably because of Enterprise Bingo.
Maybe, but I think probably he's thinking is if you're it'd be like if they couldn't get in life pods without the chaperone. Like what if there's an emergency? Like they were in an emergency in this situation.
Yeah, like if what's his face had actually breached the hull instead of the matter, that's they got to change that. That's crazy.
Well, okay, but I'll bet you that there's like a master kill switch somewhere.
There has to be
that will unlock all the suits and anybody if there's an emergency. But
I bet if
you also want to keep
red alert and not a like training red alert, I bet it would have been unlocked.
But the ship was blowing up almost. So
No, that
was a training simulation.
No, but he's talking about like the ship was genuinely under attack and losing power and
on any spaceship there should be now can really nitpick. There should be spacesuit locker like everywhere just in case. But that was fine. One real quick I had in my notes because I know we got to do more comments in our break is what was interesting is when the dude first stepped to the Klingon, the guy who can walk outside in space. Of course, like everybody, I put in my notes, why in the heck would you step to a Klingon? And now we find out that there's a little more to him that meets the eye. Because otherwise, like, dude, you don't even know that this is a Klingon who is gentle, quote unquote. Now we know why, because he's got something going on.
Yeah, initially I just took it as he's fronting for his buddies and he's trying to be the big dog. You know what I mean? So he's gonna go.
Just a cocky, cocky ass. That's what he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that we know he can survive without a suit in space. Maybe he's really genuinely not scared of what that Klingon's going to do.
Right, I tend to think.
What did you think of him when he transferred into Fishman?
I think it looks cooler.
Okay.
Yeah, I was cool with it.
Of course. Okay. Let me. I wanted to bring that point up.
Okay.
Because I kind of feel like this is a show where they have stacked these characters. Like everybody has like a special, ability and.
Power.
Like Sam can tap into all the electronics and do all that stuff. And then this guy can go outside even in a vacuum. And it was just like, I felt like it was like a first episode of, if anybody remembers the Marvel series, which was an X-Men spinoff, The New Mutants.
Oh, yes.
Where it's these students who are coming to a school to learn how to use their superpowers. And I kind of felt like they weren't cadets yet. They're just like learning to use their superpowers. And everybody had a reveal of like these special abilities that they had. And it was all exactly what was needed in that emergency. And I thought, that's a bit much. I just want average students. I just want to see real students who like through the course of the series rise to become special, not start out unique and special. And everybody has like a superpower.
Right. That's a fair point. I can see that. Real quick, when a lot of people were asking the question, and I don't even think there's a right or wrong, why is Sam a quote unquote teenager who doesn't have all knowledge of Starfleet just put into her right now?
Yeah.
Well, they sent her to interface with the like her mission is to interface with the organics. So I think that probably what they're thinking is design a young person to go through the experience of joining Starfleet and making friends and things like that. Because I would presume that the other, I mean, maybe they would be good with organics as well. But from what she said, her mission specifically was to interface with the organics. So I think maybe they thought a young person would be the way to go with that.
So they quote unquote dumbed her down so she could be more relatable to humans and stuff.
Not dumb her down, I don't think, but left her open to gain her own experiences and her own knowledge. So she's a Kaskian. What is that? And
something new.
I know it's something new, but I mean, like, are they all photonics? Are they or are they people who create photonics?
They acted like it was a colony of photonics
But how?
I don't know.
I'm just asking.
We've come across those on Star Trek before in an episode of the week.
Well,
where it'll be a planet full of holograms or a ship full of holograms, and I don't know. I'm sure there'll be a backstory to it at some point.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. I just want. I can't wait to find out what the backstory is.
Yeah, right? 2 quick things on photonics. This is always my long-running opinions. One, like you said, I get them wanting to give her experience, but if it was me, I would still say, give me all the sum total of knowledge. That's me. And the other thing, this has always been my issue with photonics. I've never understood why you would want to create photonics as a race. And a case in point, the doctor, we haven't talked about the doctor yet. The doctor said the hollow emitters are off all over the ship. Therefore, his medical staff was limited.
Yeah.
If you ever do that list of things that make no sense in Star Trek, near the top of mine has always been you would not practically have a hologram as an emergency medical thing, because if power goes off or parts of the ship gets destroyed, you've just lost your holo doctors. So I've always found photonics weird because they're always going to need some kind of emitter, and they're super susceptible to something breaking down. Unlike an android like Data, which is self-powered, and then the doctor, of course, has his mobile emitter, which he's been wearing for what, 900 years, I guess now, or something.
Maybe. I mean, he may have replaced it because now we're past the point where the mobile emitter came from in time. We're past that century. So he may have gone shopping when that century came around. Like, I should finally upgrade this thing, get a new one.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know. Have one.
I know we don't. He doesn't have one on his arm anymore, which is probably smart because people kept smacking it with pads and things.
Right. Right. All right. Can we take a break?
Yes, sure. Please.
All right, because I got a new video to show.
I know you do.
I'm excited. Ready? Here we go. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back to get some more comments from our viewers. So here we go.
Attention, people of Earth!
Turned on the TV late last night, 'cause I felt nerdy.
Saved the galaxy from a fright,
'cause I felt nerdy. Turned on the TV late last night, 'cause I felt nerdy. Then my gravity and took flight, 'cause I felt nerdy.
Exterminate, seek, locate, destroy. I have to go. Having some problems up here. Good luck. Stay safe. See you soon.
Those are both great. Those are great. Yeah. That was great. The Doctor Who was cool too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are really,
video, Alan.
really nice.
Everybody go buy my books.
Where can they buy that at?
Amazon, or you can go to my website, cosmiccreative.com, KOZMICcreative.com. All right. Let me get some comments. Matt says, I love Jaden's motto that instead of worshiping death, he chooses instead to worship life.
Love it.
Elaine says, based on the way Captain Ake sits in her, I want to talk about that chair, sits in her captain's chair, she's coding as neurodivergent to me.
Yes.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Really? I didn't think about that.
No. Wayne says, I'll bet that spacesuit restriction is just situational also.
That's how you get
Matt says, I'm a little confused as to why he wanted Genesis to not see his transformation. Yeah, me too, though he was okay with her seeing his true look.
Yeah, I didn't get that either because we saw it.
Elaine, well, sort of. It wasn't in focus, but Elaine says, also, I need to know where you got your shirt, Charles.
I don't remember.
I feel like it was at Dragon Con.
Maybe.
Could be.
Elaine, he walked through an energy field and it showed up on the other side.
Exactly. Exactly. Matt says, there are so many characters with backstories I want to learn about. I fear these short seasons are not going to tell us everything that we want to know. Yes, because I still want to know about Ortegas. Anyway, Elaine says, we are the proud owners of both of the books. Yay. I know, and I appreciate you were the first people to order them, and I really appreciate them.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Let's see. Zexa says to Matt, you gotta put it into context. This is the first time for all of the students in over 100 years to be back in Starfleet. It's new for everyone. It's not just the norm sharing things. I guess. Anyway, That could be it. And then Wayne asked about speaking of books. So we did. Anyway.
To follow up the second to last comment about how it's new to them, I will say, maybe because I'm a Star Trek fan, I did feel a little twinge of something when they showed the ships at the beginning. That was kind of like, it got to me. And I will say, when she gave the little speech about you're the first in 120 years, it actually kind of got to me when I really thought for a second about what they're doing. They are rebuilding what they've heard of the Federation. Mm-hmm. And I also thought it was cool when what's his face? Oded Fair, his character.
Captain Silverfox. I mean Admiral Silverfox.
Right. Alice so funny. I was talking to my wife and I said, he's one of those guys that's always gonna look distinguished and cool, no matter how old he is. He can't not.
Yeah.
But I thought it was actually kind of poignant when he told Aki, he said, you remember the Federation and what it used to be. And I was like, wow, that's powerful.
Exactly. Now, that's a point that I wanted to bring up because when we had Discovery jump 900 years into the future, into the time setting that we have for this show, that's what I thought we were going to get. I thought we were going to get a situation where you have people from the past who are from an active Federation who come and find out that the Federation is no longer there and want to rebuild it. And because they remember what the Federation is, they are living representations of what the Federation stands for. So I'm really glad that we got that in this show with that character.
Yeah, that was really poignant. Yeah.
And they really
go ahead.
I was gonna say, and they really leaned into like everyone made it, not everyone, but there were several comments over the course of the episode from the first scene where she was like, one day we'll make it to Sol 3 and they call it Earth. And then there was a comment from Genesis like, I've never been to Earth. And you know, but so there's a build up over the course of like sort of the mythology of Earth, and that's where Starfleet Academy originally was, and that it's a big deal when they get there.
Yeah, it's something that young people starting out would be open to, being, you know, like I said, this new adventure. And I thought, all right, Charles, because it's funny you said that, because I wrote in my notes, they make Earth and Starfleet feel almost mythological, and the way the kids were looking when they first got there. Alan, I agree with you. I still don't like the Athena. I don't like the look of it, but
I'm getting there.
Yeah, but I do think the concept, now I thought about it, the concept of some kind of Starfleet vessel that's a training vessel, because I was afraid the entire campus was the ship, and it's obviously not. Yeah. The ship parks on the campus. It would make sense, because remember we talked about when you apply for Starfleet, is there an academy here? Is there a Starfleet outlet here? It would make sense to have a fleet of ships like that traveling around the galaxy. So I'm cool with that concept.
Yeah.
Okay. Matt says, I was very proud that they used some restraint. They mentioned Discovery, but didn't use them as someone else we knew coming in to save the day. Yeah.
Right.
Thanks. It says, that's a great perspective, Alan Seiler. Why, thank you. I appreciate that. And Elaine says, and Trip wishes he could have invented a captain. Okay, I wanted to mention that because she sat down in that chair and it like swallowed her up, because it's like twice the size that she is, and she just seemed tiny.
She is so tiny.
She really is
so tiny.
That she completely fills that space with her the ways that she sits, and very uncaptainly kind of like postures where she's kind of slouching around and reading a book and all this kind of stuff. And I thought that was a really interesting and very different approach to a captain being on the bridge.
Yeah, and like Kirk's original captain chair is pretty broad. Like it's a pretty big square chair. But yeah, I mean, for one, Holly Hunter's like 5'2". Yeah, and so she'll fit. But also, I mean, she just makes herself at home. I think that really, I don't know. I think it plays into just the fact that she's 400 years old and just more comfortable in her skin. And you know, she doesn't carry herself on the bridge and pose in the chair like a lot of people have, and she just sort of curls up in it like a cat.
I want to talk about Ake.
Okay.
What do we think about our new captain and Holly Hunter's portrayal and the role that this character is playing in the show so far?
I love it.
Yeah, I think Holly Hunter's phenomenal. Yes. I think she's giving an incredible performance. Now, I think that there's a little bit of disservice to her in this first episode just because the kids have to save the day, right? And so she's the captain of the starship, and the new cadets who are not even got to Starfleet Academy yet are going to save the ship.
Yes.
But I mean, one thing that really struck me at the beginning was that the thing that caused her to leave Starfleet was arresting a mother and separating her from the child, which is something that's been very much in the news right now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I thought I don't think that was I don't think that was a coincidence. You know what I mean? I think that's a very deliberate sort of poke at where we're at right now, but also showing where Starfleet has sort of gotten during the burn. You know?
Yes,
that's very true, Charles. Because I wrote in my notes, the Starfleet we all know, the Starfleets we've all known would never done what they've done, or even if they have to arrest the mother, they would have made absolutely sure that the child was nearby. But that didn't seem to be guaranteed. She said you would have visitation, and you can't see Starfleet under Picard's era doing something like that might separate a mother from her child for any significant period of time. But you're right. He did say. He was saying we got to get back to what we used to be, our best selves, and that makes sense,
right? And I think another point that really illustrated that was that when they're hauling the mother off, she's yelling back to Caleb, don't trust them, because that's the reputation that Starfleet has at this point,
right?
And I think that's such an interesting little detail.
But at the same time, also I agree. And you take it out of science fiction, real life. I like what she kind of said to her, though. She said, "Look, I know that's not I'm paraphrasing. That's not what you wanted, but a man died. An officer died. So you know, in real life now, if you drive a car and somebody goes inside a bank and kills somebody, you get charged with murder too if you sat outside the whole time. So was it a minor thing? I thought that was pretty good, pretty interesting.
Yeah. I think also if Starfleet, or the Federation of the past would have avoided the situation where a mother is stealing food to give to her starving child by making sure they had food.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that Starfleet let them down, or the Federation let them down before that situation. They shouldn't have gotten to that situation. Something else that struck me, when they were taking them away, Braca was going to prison, and she was going to a rehabilitation colony, right? But then later she said that his mother escaped from prison, and then later Braca said that they escaped from prison together.
Yes, I noticed that too.
Well, I don't know what else there is to the story. Maybe she didn't behave where they put her, or maybe they didn't put her where they said they were going to put her,
or maybe she got upset because her son disappeared and she never got to see her son, even though she was told she was going to be able to see her son, so she wigged out. Maybe
Braca was lying. I don't know. I'm not saying it's an error. I'm just saying that's something that jumped out at me was, wait, they're in prison together now? What?
Yeah,
how did we get
I thought that too.
Yeah, there's a mystery there because Caleb was stunned to find out she's been supposedly free for a year. And she hasn't used any of their secret methods to try to communicate with him. So remember, he was freaking like, wait a minute, no way.
That secret. Which are apparently not all that secret.
Right, but she used to work with Braca. So, I guess he can monitor it. You know what I mean?
The communications channel, right?
He wasn't a stranger who picked up on it. It was someone who used to be they used to be working together. So I don't know, but you're right. You're right. That is a good point, though, that Braca shouldn't know the secret code that just her and her kid know.
Right. Okay, let me get a couple of comments. One, Elaine says that she agrees. She thinks Braca was lying. And Matt says, but Ake did have to trust Mir to allow him to save the day.
True.
Agreed. Now I want to talk about that final scene where she confronts him because he's the one that put the ship in danger and lured Braca to them unknowingly, but he did it anyway.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's an offense and you're going to get thrown in jail, but I'll cut you a deal because you also rose to the challenge and found a way to take command and you took initiative and blah, blah, blah. He didn't take command. He exhibited a really, really great set of skills as a problem solver.
Right.
And he did take initiative, but Genesis is the one that really took command. And I don't want that to, I don't want this show to be all about him. I don't want this to be like the Burnham show, because I think that all the stuff that Genesis did is hugely commendable and really needs to be recognized and rewarded.
Yeah. Good perspective. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that bugged me.
And Genesis, like in the promotional materials, I kind of went in with the expectation that she was going to start off as kind of like the mean girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She has kind of that mean girl look. But I love that from her first scene, she just immediately befriended Sam.
Yeah.
And she was
they're like buddy now.
Yeah. And she was, and that was just my own preconceptions, I guess. It was, nothing to do with what was actually in the show. But yeah, I think she did a great job of, and plausibly, because she pointed out she's gone from Starbase to Starbase with her father, who's a command officer, and has learned a lot from him over the years. And so when something came up, now I think one thing they're going to have to sort of, I hope that they can avoid, is falling into the trap of the 5 special cadets save the day.
Yes.
Time after time after time, like Harry Potter, where they like make jokes in Harry Potter of like, how come it's always you 4?
Right. Exactly.
How many Harry Potter kids? I don't know. There are.
I don't want this to be a show of 5 Wesley Crushers.
Right.
I want, and on that, this was a great first episode, and I really loved the action. It was fast paced. It gave all of the students a chance to really exhibit who they are and what they can do, and that they are going to rise to challenges and things like that. Blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, I just want to see students in classes. I want to see them going through the academy. I don't want this to be like an action adventure show every single week. I want them to be at Hogwarts. I want to see them going to potions class and then going to the dark arts class and that kind of thing. That's my favorite part of the Potter movies. And I really want to see what Starfleet Academy is like. Because I wish I could go to Starfleet Academy. So I want to live with these students as they go through their academy experience.
Yeah, and there should be episodes where they're studying for their midterms.
Right.
There should be an episode with a school dance. Like there should be sort of that school experience, right? And that's part of
I never thought about that, but you're right.
It's the Sadie Hawkins dance.
Right. There should be something.
Right on.
Hey, one quick comment when Matt made about the wall of honor, and it was so many people we knew. I will say I cheered because I guess I'm that guy, because it said Admiral Harry Kim. And I just at least wanted to see that.
Well, why the hell didn't it say that for any other character? Why is Deanna still a lieutenant commander? And why, everybody else was the same rank except for Harry Kim.
Well, Tom Paris in the alternate future in Voyager left Starfleet to become like test pilot. So you're right, because I noticed that Alan Tom Paris didn't go much further than lieutenant commander. So I'm like, I guess he left Starfleet when they got back to Earth. I did notice there was an Admiral Tawny Newsom up there.
There's also a Beckett Mariner. I think we commented on that from the promos that she made
both names
twice.
are there.
Yeah, that she made the wall twice.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
and he's one of the producers on this show too.
And Commander's
not Beckett.
Yeah, there was Commander Zero up there, so that was kind of cool.
That's cool.
Saw, but Alan, you're right. I noticed several of the people look like they didn't progress much in rank past their series. So I'm thinking that they also they mentioned Sito. Sito's name was up there. Lower Decks. Yeah, she was up there.
Yeah, I mean, it really is just the wall of references.
Yeah,
exactly. It's just fan service.
And there's a lot of that in the show. I think it does make sense that you could have like a Kirk pavilion and so forth. That stuff can get laid on a little thick for me sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
especially when you have like a what was it, a something that was named after Hoshi Sato.
Yeah, there was a Sato something.
I'm like, okay, sure.
Right.
Well, and I wonder if that's because also, in universe, I've read Hoshi Sato died at under Kodos the Executioner, evidently.
Okay.
Yeah, which sucks.
Yeah.
All right, let me get the last few comments here before we wrap up. Zanxa says, random, but I just want to say it was fun to see a peanut hamper, Orion's and Rock Talk characters in Star. Okay, I didn't see a Rock Talk. I did not see that.
Yeah, we're sticking episode 1 here.
Oh, was that in episode 2? Oops. And Ferengi apparently show up in episode 2.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that makes sense.
No spoilers. Matt says, I want to see the Doctor's Opera Club.
That was funny.
Yes.
Because I want to see something other than like Mozart and those kind of things. I want to see things from other cultures and things from future years that we haven't got to yet. I know they were not going to spend very much time on that. It's just a little in joke, but still. Matt says, yeah, Kim made Admiral at 120. He also says, I am curious about Lieutenant J.G. Wesley Crusher. Is that how he was listed on the wall? That's funny.
It was.
It kind of confuses his timeline, which was confused by him attending Riker's and Troy's wedding in uniform.
I think they just should have left the ranks off the wall.
Exactly.
Like you're just making a mess of it. There's no way this is going to make any sense.
Yeah.
Why is it Lieutenant Nog but Admiral Kim?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
Not at all.
Yeah. let's talk about the arrival, because we haven't gotten to the arrival at San Francisco. And I thought, and I'm not usually big on using like modern pop music. This happens to be a song that I like a lot, but also I thought they had a more
It's from your era.
It is, I know, but I thought they had a more like emotionally impactful arrival at Earth than Voyager had.
They did.
They really leaned into it, and I really liked the use of San Francisco.
I didn't care for the use of San Francisco.
Okay.
I didn't hate it, but I wouldn't have done it. That's just me personally. I didn't hate it, wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, this version doesn't originate from the same era, but the original version, the Scott one that Scott McKenzie sung, really does. I mean, it originates from right around the same time period as the original series, but also it sort of harkens back to San Francisco as being, from sort of a center of progressive culture at that time, with the peace movement and the free love movement, and harkens to San Francisco as a beacon of more than just where Starfleet Academy is. So for me, it really worked. I hadn't heard this Rufus Wainwright version.
Was that who that was?
It's like way more grandiose than I would have imagined this song ever being. But it's that song was like the big song for the Summer of Love that they wrote specifically for that.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it's from 1967, and that's Star Trek's era. So I don't know, that whole sequence just really worked for me. And I just really like these kids, just like they finally made it. Like we're back. We're here for the first time.
I love the scenes when they were like going across the sea of cadets. That was very awesome. And I like that it's not like a huge class, but there was like a lot of people, and there was a variety of people.
Yeah.
I especially like the Orion science officer or science cadet.
Yes. One last comment. Zanxa says, sorry about the spoilers. I was teasing.
That's okay.
I do not care about spoilers, and especially about having seen a Ferengi in episode 2. I was totally joking.
As long as you don't tell me who dies or who did it, I'm fine.
I don't even care about that much.
No worries.
You can spoiler me all you want.
Yeah. So on the whole, I thought this was a really strong premiere.
I really enjoyed it.
Like plot wise, it was a little thin. It was we're going to, but it's really introductions for everybody.
Yeah.
It has a lot to do. It's a lot of characters to introduce. And a whole situation to introduce.
Yeah, it was thin. It was kind of cliche. And also, notice several times there was a little exposition to give you backstories. Like, hey, I haven't seen you in so many years since you resigned from Starfleet, because you have to do stuff like. And then I think what you guys also pointed out, this is like any movie where the cop, like say a policeman in the movie never solves a crime till they get his gun and his badge. So like I said, she's like, okay, you did a bad thing, but you showed initiative. Therefore, I really need you in Starfleet Academy. And we just signed a treaty with this planet such that prisoners can be taken from this planet, and you can be gone into the academy, even though you have no experience at all.
Yeah, these guys who their punishment is they cut all your fingers off one by one, and then your hands, and then make you dig a trench with your wrists. Also have an extradition treaty with the Federation, or you can join Starfleet. And he's like, I don't really want to join Starfleet. Like, really? More than the digging with the wrists.
Right.
Oh God, how do you think about that?
One last comment, just sneaking in right at the end. Bobby Nash says, "Happy anniversary!"
Hey, thanks, Bobby.
Thanks, Bobby.
Yeah,
it's great to have you on board, man. Always good to see you.
And I think Bobby posted on Facebook how he liked the premiere also of the series.
Good.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, I really had a great time watching.
Me too.
Actual people.
Yeah, a lot of the reactions I've seen from people who actually watched it to see if it's good have been very positive.
Yes.
The same people who decided 4 years ago they didn't like it still don't like it. But the people who have been waiting to see what it's like, I think I've seen very positive reactions from folks. And
I think, Charles, real quick, because I'm going to go to what you said. I think this points out, as you say, people who decide they're going to hate something, because the stuff online about the people are too fat, the wokeness. One guy, several people online said, I can't watch it because they curse. I'm like, seriously, folks.
There was a lot of it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, more than you're used to in Star Trek.
Yeah. I like, if you're going to do that, then definitely. And again, I'm not even, there's no right or wrong in this world. If you're definitely going to not like it, then just don't watch it. If you can't get past that stuff, it's not going to get any better.
There's a lot of things that I don't like that I don't spend all my time on.
Yeah, same here.
Who's got time to waste on that? Come on.
Right.
I also want to say, when Matt posted an earlier comment, I thought I was reading it as, I'm curious about Lieutenant J.G. Hertzler. But he means Lieutenant Junior grade, and I was thinking J.G. Hertzler? Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's great.
They need to get J.G. Hertzler in one of these modern shows.
Absolutely.
Gosh,
And
dog
Dan Armstrong, or what's his name?
I want to point one thing out before we stop talking about the episode, because we haven't talked about it. We were on Bajor for the first time in like 30 years.
Yeah.
And we didn't see a lot of Bajor. And there wasn't a lot of Bajorans.
I didn't see any Bajorans.
But the thing that struck me was that Bajor seems like it's doing fine. Yeah. It's a nice place where lots of kids of different species come to go to school, and which is not all the places that we've seen so far in post-burn are doing like that. You know, Bajor seems like it's doing better now than it was during DS9, honestly, just from the little bits that we saw. But I just thought it was kind of nice just to pop in and say like, hey, guess what, everybody, Bajor's fine.
Yeah.
But it was also nice that they're walking through this kind of like this park, you know, this really nice this nice cultured park, and it's got this little bridge that goes over a stream, which is exactly the kind of thing that they showed with Kira and Bareil, who walk over. I thought it was such a nice little touch. You're like, if you had just seen it, you'd have been like, you know what, that reminds me of Bajor. I just thought their location selection was really, really nice.
Charles, my fan theory is Bajor is doing well. It's because the Bajorans all sold their telepathic powers for espionage purposes, so they're rich.
Or they broke out the solar sail ships, and they're like, well, we don't need that lithium for this. We know how to get around.
One other thing, and again, I've only seen episode 1, but so far we have not met the Betazoid character.
Right.
And I just talked about telepathy. I was thinking,
that's what reminded me to mention.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Sorry.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to getting to know, because I love me a Betazoid.
Okay.
But she's got weird eyes. They're not black.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, I'm sorry. Yeah. I gotta rewind. Bajor, they got the prophets, and they're a deeply spiritual people. So I think they took it in their stride. I think they, as a culture, a very spiritual culture, I think they adapted to the burn.
Very spiritual culture after 900 years.
Sure.
Yeah.
I imagine they would be, because the Bajoran culture went back from like before humans were walking upright or something.
Right.
And also, I mean, they've got a wormhole, they've got solar sail ships, they've got orbs. I bet they're fine.
Yeah.
Wow. I never even thought of it. Wouldn't it be funny if they'd had like this thriving industry, like they're just zipping through the wormhole and they're rich and got latinum and all this crap.
Yeah, they're flying their ancient solar sail vessels through the through warp space.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think but I did like the little peek back at Bajor. I would love to see more of Bajor and Bajorans this time. It would be nice.
Me too.
But yeah, I mean, this is our 5-year anniversary, so I just wanted to say, like, I can't imagine going through the last 5 years of Star Trek without you guys.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah, 5 years ago that we didn't even. I mean, we knew Alan barely just because you used to book us at conventions. Keith, I knew you sort of. I knew your name just because I'm in the ESO groups, and you can't be in those ESO groups and not see Keith Johnson's name. But I mean, just getting to know you guys, I can't imagine the last 5 years of Star Trek without you guys.
Yeah.
Same here, because Mike Faber asked me if I wanted to join. He said, well, do you think you'd be interested in the group? I was like, Mike, I talk about Star Trek like every day. I'm listening to like 5 different podcasts. Sometimes my wife's like, seriously? So yeah, I can talk about Star Trek.
I thought you were going to say, I don't know, Mike, I'm a little shy.
I don't know what I would say.
Yeah, it's been interesting times. Yeah, I've enjoyed it too. Some remember I almost died on one of the shows on one day, so that was a real big thing. And the first thing I did when I could speak again was I showed up on the show, like I think the week after or something, laying on the couch. So yeah, it's been some interesting times.
Yeah, absolutely.
God, I remember when I had surgery one time and I was laid up in bed and I did a show from bed.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm talking about Star Trek, dang it.
Yeah. I remember you called in from like Universal Studios or something one time.
Yeah, we were at Disney, and I was at one of the Disney hotels.
Yeah,
that's right.
We were talking to Noah again without me.
Yeah, that's true. We were talking to Noah that week.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Cats.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, Keith, where can people find more of you?
You can find me on Facebook, primarily the ESO Network Facebook groups.
And how about you, Alan?
CosmicCreative.com, KOZMIC creative.com. Go check out my 2 brand new Doctor Who books and buy them.
How about us, Veronica?
FeltNerdy.com.
That's right. And if you're in the Atlanta area, you can check us out at some local shows coming up here in the Atlanta area. Our adult shows are at Felt Nerdy and Dirty across social media. Our family-friendly stuff is just at Felt Nerdy across social media, or you can find everything at feltnerdy.com. And where else can people find us?
Monkeying Around, a podcast about the monkeys.
That's right. And do you have a closing for us this week?
Yes. I prepared. Chuck, help me.
Ooh.
Sometimes Hanger is the greatest enemy of all.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And don't forget, we're going live again Monday night.
Yep.
To
we're
talk
going
about episode 2.
Yep, going live to talk about episode 2 Monday night at 8 o'clock, live on YouTube or on Facebook, wherever you're seeing us. Also, if you miss it, you can follow us after the fact on your favorite podcast platform or on our YouTube channel, Earth Station Trek, or you can join our group, Earth Station Trek. And if you're hearing me on anything that you're not like, subscribe on something, subscribe on YouTube, hit a like, it helps us out a lot. I'm just saying.
Right.
If you're seeing us for the first time, do us a favor, hit subscribe. We have a good time.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for hanging in with us for 5 years.
That's right. Oh my gosh. All right, everybody take care. See you Monday night.
Take care.
Bye.
Don't kill your instructor.